So, ladies and gentlemen, SC Reddit number 7. This is the bronze match between Yulath and Zukarakox. We've got Protoss versus Zerg. Zukarakox upper left, Yulath lower right. And this is, for a map that's not very good for Zerg, this is probably the best opening positions for Yulath since he's the furthest away from his opponent. But I am Harlequin, and I'm here tonight with Atomica. Atomica, how are you doing, and how do you feel about this matchup?
I am doing fantastic. I am really curious to see if Yulath can pull this together. He had his streak of 2 in his last game, but unfortunately lost to Hybrid Frog. I really would like to see him exploit this long rush distance and get his macro up really heavily.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he's going to make any decisions about expanding. Pretty much my favorite thing that I like seeing Zerg do on this map, if they don't go for their natural, Zerg's natural is just so dangerous in pretty much any matchup on this, but a lot of times they like to sneak that gold, so I'll be curious to see if he's going to shoot for that at all.
Absolutely. There's just so many expansions to do on Kulas Ravine. And if you're not careful and you don't scout often and early, then your Zerg opponent can just simply out-macro you all over the place.
Yeah, it's a pretty good trick, and like I said, I'll be surprised if he doesn't go for something like that, because typically this walled-off expansion is pretty off-limits for Zerg. Zerglings take a billion years to get it, and not every player goes for roaches early on, so which are the best unit for taking down rocks, and a lot of Zergs just avoid this expansion completely, whereas it's almost trivial for Terran to take it, and Protoss tend to have no problem since they, Zealots do a great job against those rocks, as do Stalkers. So, like I said, I'd like to see him try and take the gold. That would be fun, but it's kind of difficult to defend.
Absolutely. Yulath doing a pretty basic speedling opening. Just not really much to look at.
Right. A little bit of chomping action going on up here. Cybernetics core going down. But yeah, pretty much this is the slow opening here. But I guess I'd like to take this time to give a shout out to all the people at Reddit that make this sort of stuff possible. Fear Gorm and Steezy, who set all this stuff up every day. Or every week, rather, and maintain the forums and the chat rooms and all that sort of stuff, as well as the good people at Team Liquid for hosting my stream and our stream and that sort of stuff. So a lot of good players out there, and, I recommend anybody come check out the SC Reddit opened, starcraft.reddit.com or youtube.com/screddit. Both good ways to get involved in this sort of stuff and check things out.
Absolutely. Shout out to... Sorry, I am completely blanking on his name. Sino, yes, Sino, our wonderful, wonderful person who records all of these matches and is putting them on our YouTube channel. Once again, that's youtube.com/screddit. Your number one source for all things SC Reddity.
I completely agree. I never see anybody use this little nook that this scouting probe found out down here. This is an interesting little corner, and almost nobody built anything there. But it is a strange little room in that little corner there. So oddly enough, it looks like Yulath is going for, he got speedlings, he's getting an evolution chamber. We've seen him do this play before, and I think it's pretty questionable, and an expansion. Meanwhile, the probe getting a pylon set up behind that mineral line, but I don't think anything's going to come of that, because those lings are on the ball here. But and he even had that early forge, so he may have even been thinking about cannoning that expansion. Kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, I think that's what he was trying to go for. But right now... And I don't even have my production tab open. Yeah, right now he's just pulling up a Robo Bay. So he's playing pretty cautiously and building up a large amount of units.
Yeah, there's a good solid Maynard exchange going on here with the units. And, he'll get at least a little bit of benefit from that. The speedlings are out there just kind of maintaining control. Honestly, Zukarakox does not have that many units. I mean, he's taking some shots at his destructible rocks. He's producing a few more zealots, but he kind of is slowed down a little bit, perhaps even by that forge and photon cannon in his base. Is he getting a Robo Bay up? I would be, I would think that if I saw this kind of slowness happening in his base, that he was going for a starport or something. But perhaps just working his way to quick Colossi, which would be quick Colossus would do wonders against that expansion from up in the cliffs, but kind of hard to tell what he's going with exactly.
Right. I'm I like to see Yulath break the rocks out of his main and take that high ground expansion. It's a relatively safe place to expand, and really, the Zerglings are just running around, and I'm not quite sure if he's aware of this, but there's really nothing for them to find. So if he could break down some rocks, he could definitely take quite a few expansions, especially that near one.
These rocks are just so hard for Zerglings. Zerglings do 5 damage. The rocks have 3 hardened armor, and as a result, they do 2 damage per shot with 2,000 hit points on the rock. It just takes forever for Lings to go. But once again, we see this level 1 weapons upgrade going, Mass Ling build, and I just don't know what his motivation is behind this build.
I don't like this build at all. Last time we saw it, it ultimately cost him the game because he just went into this, again, he went into the game just thinking that he was going to build Masklings and then do the Carapace and do the level 1 upgrades, which is exactly what he's doing right now, and ultimately, it just didn't work because the Protoss player could just look at it and counter it.
Yep. Meanwhile, Zukarakox has got a solid defense. He's got stalkers up on the cliffs wherever he needs them, and he's got access to this expansion that he can kind of build in whenever he wants to. He's got tons of money, so he should be building soon, and there he goes. I honestly, I watch a lot of replays and I cast a lot of tournaments, and I never see Zergs use this build order so blindly against Protoss. It seems like, attack upgraded Lings, I mean, it's just, it's not like you can get adrenal upgraded Lings that quickly. Cracklings are great, but they really are a late game unit, and even late game they're kind of moderate at best. So I'm surprised to see him putting so much effort into them.
Yeah,
against like a Zerg, this is probably a really good anti-Zerg build for starters, but Protoss, not so much.
Yeah, especially versus 6 Stalkers and 5 Zealots. Against Protoss, Zerglings are just absolutely not the best unit that you should pour all your money into. Especially with this wall that Zukarakox has built.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
want
quite
to see
sure
him
why
go.
Yulath thinks he's surprised.
I want to see him go somewhere else with this eventually. I mean, it's good that, he really has map control. The good thing about having all those speedlings upgraded, granted, he really doesn't need to have, oh, look at that.
Ooh.
We got the offensive cannon drop going on behind his base there. And I completely missed that being set up. I saw that little warp prism flying around. I meant to make note of it, and I never did, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was wondering where he was going with that.
Yeah, this is why so many Zerg players hate this map, because now he is shut down at this expansion. And at the very least, he's taking the gold, but there's not a lot he can do about that right now. He needs, either Lings to claw their way up, or he needs a drop, or he needs something. You saw him trying to build all those spine crawlers back there to hopefully get some sight and kill them, but it's never going to happen. And meanwhile, we've got